give me one shot here on a blue chip stock, believe me, Kevin, the only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
Nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles.
What's going on, NBA draft fans? Your boys are back. It is the Wolf of Ball Street, the Draftdaq NBA Draft Podcast. My name is Corey Tulliba, and I am here, as always, with my co-host, Albert Garbage Time Gim. Albert, what's poppin', my dude?
What is going on, everybody? It is good to be back. A hectic day, but today I realized today was a huge day in the NBA, but also a huge day for our podcast, right, Corey?
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you reminded me. This is actually going to be our 1 year anniversary episode. We launched just about a year ago, not exactly on the day, but to the week. And in that time, we've, been number one in multiple countries on the basketball charts on Apple. We've amassed over, 40,000 podcast downloads. It's pretty unbelievable, what we accomplished this year. I'm very proud of it, man.
Yeah, it's great. Like, sometimes we get into like the cycle of doing this every single week, and you can kind of lose sight of things. But I'm so thankful and grateful for all our listeners. Grateful for you, Corey, for being such an awesome host and a teammate and like a mentor to me. So it's been a crazy year, and I think the best way for us to cap this wild year where we've truly been blessed by all our listeners and in a lot of different ways, we've got some fun for you guys today.
Oh yeah. We're going to do a full first round mock draft, which I'm very excited for because we haven't done that yet for this cycle. And, but today's also a big day. If you're listening, it'll have been yesterday, most likely, but we also had the NBA trade deadline. And, I don't want to get into necessarily the James Harden, Ben Simmons stuff, but there are some young prospects that have been affected by the trade deadline. Some big moves, and I figured we talk about that a little bit before we get into the mock. So, first of all, let's start with Marvin Bagley, who was traded to the Detroit Pistons. Do you think that Marvin Bagley can be salvaged in Detroit?
So that's a really interesting question, Corey, because for me, I didn't mind Marvin Bagley. I just feel like the way that he was utilized in Sacramento didn't make any sense to me. I remember I actually watched a good amount of Sacramento last season and a little bit this season, but just it's confusing to me that they thought he would be really, really good as a corner 3-point shooter. Like, you draft a guy that early in the draft with his size and his athleticism and his tools, you say, let's turn him into a corner 3-point shooter. Was the really baffling part about how Sacramento decided to use Marvin Bagley. So that's the thing. I'm not sure, Corey, just because we haven't really seen much of Marvin Bagley be Marvin Bagley in the NBA. So I am curious. I am intrigued by it, but maybe it's good for me to throw this back at you. How do you feel about the fit in Detroit? Is he, what's going to go on? Is he just coming off the bench for Jeremy Grant, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Jeremy Grant's got the 4 spot locked down, presumably, and then Isaiah Stewart has that center spot, right? I don't know what Isaiah Stewart's long-term future is in Detroit. Not that I think they want to get rid of him, but I think last year he kind of exceeded expectations and he's leveled off this year. So kind of regressed to the mean or of who he is as a prospect. So is he a long-term starter? Is he a guy that Bagley can kind of supplant in that lineup at some point? I do like Cade making plays for him. Granted, having Halliburton and Fox make plays for him is, that's pretty good situation too that he had in Sacramento. But at the end of the day, the situation soured and he wasn't getting the minutes. So if he gets a real opportunity, I do think he's going to put up counting stats. I do think that he potentially could help up his value a little bit. I mean, he's always going to have the stink of not being Luka, unfortunately, right? But I still think that if he has his attitude right, and I don't know if it's his dad who's just got a bad attitude or if it's Marvin Bagley, why couldn't he have like a Montrezl Harrell type impact on a team where he's, coming off the bench and being really productive in limited minutes, but he can be kind of a microwave bench guy, because he was a really high level prospect. He was good at Duke. So I'm interested to see if he gets an opportunity. I think he needs an opportunity. You're muted. Sorry, bud.
Jesus, I'm sorry about that.
It's all good, dude.
No, I think the opportunity piece is huge. I definitely agree with you on that. I just wonder. I mean, yeah, like clearly he's a gifted and talented guy. He was in a weird situation in Sacramento. You mentioned the dad part of it. I Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a second look. It is also interesting though to think, Corey, about like all these guys who have been taken in the first round, taken with high picks, and then these teams, they kind of fall in love with the idea of like he could be our reclamation project. We get him
Yeah.
in a new situation. Maybe he blossoms into the prospect we all thought he was going to be, and then very, very rarely does that actually ever happen. So I'm excited for him, but at the same time, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he's the next Jermaine O'Neal as far as reclamation projects go.
Wow.
So another trade, and this it doesn't necessarily have young prospects involved, but Thad Young goes to Toronto for Goran Dragic and a first round pick. That means that the Toronto Raptors traded a first round pick for Thad Young, who has basically been chilling on the bench in San Antonio the entire year. If Toronto's willing to give up a late first, they're probably around 19, 20 right now. What does that say about this class and this draft overall in general?
God, that's something we've been kind of mulling over with our No Ceilings crew for a couple weeks now, right? I feel like
Yeah.
I personally feel like NBA execs and front offices, maybe they're starting to get a little whiff of what we're getting, right? And their scouts are telling them, hey, this draft kind of sucks, is what they might be hearing. And so maybe that's what happened. But you know what, Corey, I did want to say, I want to throw this at you, kind of get some feedback on you, because like I feel like all the Dragic rumors we've been hearing were for guys who are like a little bit more substantial. Not that like I have anything against Thaddeus Young. Like I've always liked Thad Young as a player. Like he's always kind of been that Swiss Army knife guy who I've really enjoyed. But do you feel like maybe there's a world where they could have gotten a little bit more? Other than Thad Young was just kind of what I was thinking. Not that, once again, no slight against Thad Young. I actually like him, but just wondering, with all the rumors that were out there, did they maybe settle for something they could have gotten a little bit more?
I don't know. I don't think the Dragic's value was all that high. He was kind of in a similar situation, not really playing much. And I think he's had his eyes on Dallas for a while. We'll see if that's where he ultimately ends up. But I do think Thad Young fits Toronto's play style, right? Like Thad Young is that 6'8", 6'9", versatile, can do a little bit of everything guy that Toronto loves. I wrote a piece on No Ceilings last week specifically about that topic in regards to this draft. But Thad Young's kind of like the veteran version of that for them. He's a really, really good passer. I mean, he was running a lot of offense for the Chicago Bulls last season. He's not the best shooter, but he'll shoot it if he's open enough, and he's really crafty down low. He can defend multiple spots. I don't know. I think he just gives Toronto reinforcements and adds to their depth of guys that just fit the type of team that Masai Ujiri wants to build. So I do do think I was really surprised by the first round pick being the price that they had to pay to get a guy that San Antonio wasn't even playing. I thought Thad Young was potentially going to be a buyout guy, so that was a little shocking. But I get why Toronto targeted Thad Young.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Also, once again, I've always liked Thad Young too. The craziest part of it all, Thad Young still only 33. If you guys could believe that, I feel like he's been in the league since I was in like junior high or something, which is not true.
Yeah.
He's not that old. So yeah, I'm with you. I think just kind of tapping into your piece that you wrote about. I think the whole identity thing, right? It definitely feels like he's someone that goes along with the identity that Toronto's trying to build. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I just, in my mind, I was wondering, as you mentioned, like, could they have gotten a little bit more? But if he fits, he fits. And if that's who they wanted, and then good. And if he was a guy that maybe like it was bought out and they ended up missing out on because they're in Toronto, then it's worth the swing, I guess. And also it's, as we've mentioned, not the strongest class. So I totally get it.
Lastly, and this is the big one, it didn't happen on deadline day, but the Sacramento Kings, back to Sacramento, they traded Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis. How do you feel overall? And do we think the internet overreacted at all?
I mean, yeah, like everyone who Twitter pretty much made Halliburton out to be some all NBA guy with the outrage. Now, shouts to our guy Nick at No Ceilings. He is going through some stuff right now, so I get it. But okay, so Corey, this is how I feel. I think a lot of people are going to be like, why did the Kings trade Halliburton for Sabonis? And I think it really comes down to, I think the Pacers really wanted Halliburton. And so if the Kings were going to get their guy in Sabonis, it wasn't a matter of them like choosing who they were going to send to the Pacers. I think the Pacers were like, bro, you guys want Sabonis? Give us Halliburton. And then the Kings were like, you know what? Like, we really believe in Sabonis and we feel like we have a team that we can put around him to make us competitive. Then, okay, we'll send you Halliburton. I did want to say, Corey, really interestingly enough, and this is another young player, in Sabonis's first game, I think Davion Mitchell had like 15, 7, and 7. So I think the Kings they're intrigued with, yeah, like it's a big, we kind of have to bite the bullet here and giving up on a guy who is playing really, really well and that we like a lot, but also we really believe in Sabonis. We believe in the rest of the roster, and we really like Davion Mitchell might be the situation. And also the Pacers may have just had no interest in De'Aaron Fox. So I get it. Like, if I was a Kings fan, I'd be really sad about losing Tyrese Halliburton, but then also it's not a nightmare either, because Sabonis is a really good NBA player, and now maybe this is how Davion Mitchell really gets to spread his wings and show everybody why he was taken as high as he was. So me being a third party, not a Kings fan at all, or a Pacers fan, I don't hate it, but it hurts because Halliburton's been so freaking good.
Yeah, I think it's honestly a fair trade. I'm not like overreacting. I think Halliburton has been like just absolutely phenomenal, and I totally get why when you have that young player that's showing all this potential that you get sad or people overreact. But like Sabonis is really freaking good, and he's young, and he's got a good deal. I mean, he's got to be the best Kings big man in God knows how long. But he does a little bit of everything. Yeah. Look, I'm upset for Davion because I feel like Davion Mitchell and Halliburton fit better than Davion and De'Aaron Fox fit together. From that aspect, selfishly as a Davion Mitchell fan, and as you mentioned, he's been playing really good ball lately. He's been starting a lot of games. Came off the bench, had a big game last night, but he's been balling lately. But with the DiVincenzo trade, I like Sacramento's got a team now. Like, they have a legit chance at getting the play-in tournament and maybe building something forward. I still have faith in De'Aaron Fox. I know he's not shooting it to up to his potential, but I still think that he's a really good player. So I don't think it's a catastrophe like everyone seems to think it is. They didn't lose draft capital. They got a guy who's been an all-star and who's young. It's not like he's on the down side of his career. It's not like, look, I think Vucevic has been awesome for Chicago. Even though this year he's been up and down. He's been very good lately, but like Vucevic is on the older side of what you want when
Right.
you're acquiring a prospect, right? Like Sabonis isn't. Sabonis is young. So I'm not like nearly as panicked about it. I think it's just like, let's make fun of the Kings because it's easy to do, and they gave up a good prospect. But
Yeah.
I guess only time will tell. All right, that's all I really have for trade
Okay.
deadline stuff, unless you got something else.
No, just really quickly. I actually totally forgot that they picked up DiVincenzo, which I was a little confused by because, like, I know the Bucks have Grayson Allen, but I think DiVincenzo gives them something a little bit different defensively than Grayson Allen. I know Grayson Allen's a great shooter, but DiVincenzo's a guy that I've loved since college. And I know like his role in the NBA has been a little bit different than I think what we expected from what we saw in college, but it's totally fine. He's a really, really good player. And I think what he'll offer for the Kings is really interesting to go along with the fact that the Kings also added Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday. So they have like a nice little like stable of wings that will be able to play defense and spread the floor a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you. It is kind of interesting to see how things go. And really quickly with the Davion piece, that first game when he played with Sabonis, it looked pretty good. And he had like pretty decent energy playing with Sabonis with some of the dribble handoff stuff and like cutting to the basket and whatever. So I'm excited, man. And I think Kings fans should be a little bit more positive than they are right now.
Yeah, it seems like they were ready to jump off a cliff, but after a few games, like Sabonis is going to put up numbers. Maybe they catch some W's and everything levels out. All right, it's time. We are going to, if you're watching on the YouTube or watching live now on Twitter, we're going to do our first round mock, and we are going to simulate it live as we speak right now. So,
Wow.
yeah, we're doing it. We don't even know what the order is going to be. We are just going to go to Tankathon and hit the simulation. We're just going to roll with it, man. So, hit the sim. Let's see what we end up with. All right, Oklahoma City has won the lottery. So OKC gets the number 1 pick. The second pick goes to Orlando. The third pick, jumping up 11 spots, is the Charlotte Hornets. The fourth pick, which would be the Lakers, but goes to New Orleans. Wow. Goes to New Orleans. Detroit moves down 4 spots. They get the 5th pick. Houston moves down 3 spots. They get the 6th pick. Indiana at 7. San Antonio at 8. Sacramento at 9. New Orleans to Portland at 11. Your New York Knicks at 12. The Wiz at 13. And the Hawks at 14 is our lottery. So let's see if I missed anybody. All right. Okay. Okay. See. Detroit, Houston, Indiana, San Antonio at 8, Sacramento at 9, Portland at 10. Oh, Portland gets back-to-back picks. That's what it is. That's interesting. All right. So that is our lottery, and then the back half of the draft will be uploaded. So,
wow.
Let's hit it. Do you want the first pick or the second pick? OKC to Orlando.
You know what? Because the Knicks are picking 11th, I'd like to go first.
All right. Very nice. You get the first pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Here we go. With the first pick in the 2022 Draftdaq NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from the University of Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Chet off the
Mhm.
board. Everything that OKC probably wants out of Poku, they instead get out of Chet. I mean, I love it. It's what I would do. You get Chet, SGA, Giddy,
Wow.
Dort. You're building something fun there. OKC also
JRE.
has plus 2 more first round picks. Trey Mann. It's actually funny. OKC, San Antonio, and Memphis all have 3 picks. They have about 33% of the draft equity in the first round
Jesus
without any trades.
Christ.
All right, so that brings the number 2 pick to Orlando. Ooh, man. I am going to go, and this is what I think Orlando would do. I'm not going to pick based what I would do. Jabari Smith to the Orlando Magic.
Okay. Cool.
I think Jabari and Franz is a really sick front court. I think he fits next to Wendell Carter. And who knows what's going on with Jonathan Isaac, but he also fits with Jonathan Isaac in the front court because he could shoot it so well. So Jabari Smith Jr. to the Orlando Magic at number 2.
Damn. Corey, really quickly, the idea of the versatility and the shooting of Franz and Jabari together in that front court, pretty sick. Pretty sick.
Yeah.
I don't hate that at all. Okay.
I agree. You have Charlotte at pick 3.
That's weird that Charlotte's this high in the draft.
Jumped up 11 spots.
Yeah. Strange. Okay. Man, this is a weird one, though. Charlotte at 3. Can
Charlotte
Jaden
at
Ivey
3.
play with LaMelo? Whoa. Is that too crazy?
I don't think it's certainly not crazy.
Right?
LaMelo, I think, offers, a pretty
A lot.
versatile.
On ball, off ball. Yeah. I want to do it. Corey, I'm just going to do it.
All right.
I'm going to do
Do
the
it.
damn thing. Let's
Feel
give
what's in your
Jaden
heart.
Ivey to the Charlotte Hornets. Let's go.
Jaden Ivey to Charlotte. Pair it
Wow.
up with LaMelo Ball. Terry Rozier. We got James Bouknight in the backcourt. Gordon Hayward. Always injured, but my guys still need some real front court help. I mean, I know they got Trez in the trade today, but I don't know if Trez is a full-time answer to those problems. Still need a big man. But putting them in the 3rd spot, I think you go for it. Ivey's legit. He's really.
Yeah.
I'm really getting hot
Same.
on Jaden Ivey. So good pick for Charlotte. New Orleans on the clock at number 4. I'm gonna take Paolo Banchero here. It's not the best fit in the world.
Yeah.
It's not. But getting Banchero at 4, especially when this situation plays out, is I just think you gotta take that talent. Zion and Banchero, it's a little clunky, but Duke Brotherhood. Ingram, Banchero, you figure it out later. Take the talent, see where it goes. So I'm going to take Banchero at 4 to New Orleans, even though Ivy would have been a really fun piece there if Charlotte didn't take him. Would have been fun to think about. All right, number 5, the Detroit Pistons dropped a little bit.
With the 5th pick, the Detroit Pistons are going to take Johnny Davis here. Yeah, I like it. I think you put Johnny Davis next to Cade. Cade will create and stuff, and Johnny will go get buckets. I have no problem with that at all. Give me Johnny Davis, please.
Yeah, I like it. Johnny Davis, because one of the knocks, and I don't necessarily agree, is that he has to settle for tough shots. But, you put him next to a Cade Cunningham, and,
Sadiq.
it alleviates some of the pressure there. And
Yeah.
it allows them to stay big, right? Create this kind of new age jumbo lineup with Cade, Johnny Davis in the backcourt because I think Davis is going to be able to guard point guards.
Right.
So he offers that versatility. So I like it. That's a fun young team for a Detroit team that moved down in the draft to pick 5 in this simulation. All right, Houston is on the clock at number 6, and I am going to take AJ Griffin for Houston here.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Griffin's one of my favorite players in the draft. He reminds me of Jimmy, Jaylen Brown, these new age wings. He's really just been a flamethrower at Duke this year. I love that he could play off the ball, so he doesn't necessarily have to dominate reps with Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Josh Christopher, but they just have a ton of athletic wings in that backcourt / front court, and just keep adding talent. And Houston also moved down a little bit, so maybe not the best situation, but Griffin's not a bad consolation prize at 6. Indiana at number 7.
God. Let's do it. For the 7th pick, the Indiana Pacers select Keegan Murray from the University of Iowa. I think it just makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose Sabonis, so Keegan can kind of slot into that spot. I think,
3-4.
you have your creators with Brogdon, with Tyrese, and he can just kind of play off of all of the different guys on the team. And, Miles Turner spreads the floor, and Keegan can operate inside a little bit while he's doing that. So I think it's a fun fit, and I think you're also probably getting best player available in this situation at the same time.
Agreed.
All right. Pick 8, the San Antonio Spurs. Whew. Now we're starting to get to the spot where things get weird. All right, so they traded Derek White today, but the backcourt is still pretty loaded there. A lot of depth. You could go Ty Washington. You could go Mathurin, but I'm going to take Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
I know they love Pirtle, and for great reason. There were rumors that maybe they'd have moved him for the right deal. Maybe they revisit that in the offseason. But I think Duren with Pop and all of the young talent, potential defensive anchor to go along with guys like Devin Vassell, DeJounte Murray, like I really like what San Antonio could possibly unlock for Duren's potential. And that brings us to number 9, the Sacramento Kings.
This is tough, actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping Duren would fall there.
Yeah, that would actually have been a nice situation for him to fall into.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good to go though. People may not like this one, but I'm okay. I'm just thinking I really just think like you put him in an NBA team, NBA setting, NBA coaching, he'll figure it out. I think he'll come off the bench and back up Harrison Barnes. Give me Patrick Baldwin Jr. from Milwaukee for the Kings.
Let's go.
Yeah, like I think this makes sense. I think this will give him the opportunity to kind of develop and not have a lot of pressure on him because of Sabonis and a lot of different wings on that team. I'm going to take PBJ here and feel good about it.
I like that pick because he's a guy who has kind of proven that he's not necessarily the guy you want to have the ball in his hands all the time, right? Like you want him to be playing off of other guys, catch and shoot, maybe cutting, every now and then get some on-ball reps. but for the most part, you want him as complementary piece. I think that he could play in the front court with Sabonis because he's huge, and then he doesn't crowd that backcourt up any more than it already is because they've got some good depth there too. So I think this is a really good spot to take the swing on PBJ.
Agreed.
All right, number 10, the Portland Trailblazers. They have back-to-back picks. They traded CJ earlier in the week. I'm not sure what their plan is. They say it's to keep Dame and build around him. They have Eric Bledsoe, Dennis Smith Jr., Ben McLemore. Just a murderer's row right there.
Woo.
An injured Joe Ingles. I do like Josh Hart there. Took this. They got Keon Johnson, so that's a fine swing. Simons has looked really good lately.
Yeah.
Man, this is a tough spot for Portland, but they got back-to-back picks here. I'm just gonna take Ty Washington here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Ty here. I think he could play off Dame, thrive as a spot up shooter, kind of give you poor man's CJ for his first couple of years. I think he's one of those guys who, if you're looking for a rookie to help, I feel like he could probably step in and help faster than some of the other prospects can. I like that he could, I almost feel like he's a 1.5, so he could run offense a little bit. He could play with Simons or Dame in the backcourt. I think it's good value for Ty there. And they have the 11th pick as well, so you're on the clock here.
Yeah. Okay, so we went with a 1.5 guard.
Mm-hmm.
We have Simons there. You've got Josh Hart. Still have Dame. I'm gonna go with a guy who's gonna give them some defense. He's not a center per se. I'm not really comfortable taking any centers this high up in the draft. So I'm gonna go with. Now, man, I hope people don't kill me for this one, but it's okay. I'm gonna go with Tari Eason here. I know this is high. I get it. I know it's high, but if the Blazers in this hypothetical are gonna go back to back with picks, I don't mind adding Tari Eason to this team. And providing what he can on the defensive side. And he's shown a little pop offensively too recently. I don't know if people have noticed. So I'm going to go with Tari Eason here. And I think it's actually a decent fit.
No, I really like that pick. And I think that he's going to work his way into the conversation around this spot come draft time. I do. He's been a monster, like steal and block monster. Like you said, the shot's coming along. He's versatile. He fits the direction of the NBA. There's a lot of guys that he's going to have to defend. And, if you're going to want to compete in the West, like those, you got Kawhi, you got Paul George, you got, just a ton of guys that Luka, he's going to have his work cut out for him. But those are the type of guys that you want to target. So I like it. All right. Number 12, the New York Knicks. This is man. Jeez. The New York Knicks, Albert. This is your team. Let's see. Kentucky guys off the board. I really like Grimes. RJ's a center. He's staying. Seems like they're going to try to figure out how to get Cam on the floor. Mitch is probably going to re-sign, right?
Right.
I'm going to take a shot here. I don't know how you're going to feel about it. I'm going to swing because I really like him. I'm going to go with Jan Montero.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm listening.
I don't know, man. Like, I get it. He could be I feel like he's the type of guy that could have kind of like a Kemba, Darius Garland type of development under the right circumstance. I think that Tibbs has done well with guards like him historically. And I really like McBride. And who knows with that situation, but Kemba's not the answer. Derrick Rose, obviously not the long-term answer. I don't think Quickly ultimately is going to be the answer at point guard. Quickly feels a lot to me like a heat check bench guy who could have some really big moments. But as much as like you can't take anything out of like the ridiculous stats that Montero's averaging in the overtime elite and watching the games, I just think that he's got some translatable NBA skills, and add that to his solid international experience. It's a little less scary for me, so I'm gonna go with Montero here.
Dang. Okay. So for me, Corey, the only pushback I want to give you, I actually totally understand your rationale. And this is just me dreaming as a Knicks fan. I just
Mhm.
feel like we're gonna kind of put some pieces together and trade for a point guard this summer, is what
Okay.
I'm thinking. But I don't hate it at all. At all. I'm just thinking like in this hypothetical world, the Knicks are loading up and they're trading for like, somebody to be the point guard of the present.
Yeah,
So
and
for me,
honestly, even if they do that,
yeah,
I don't know if Montero's gonna be ready on game one,
right,
and like how Tibbs is, he makes his rookies earn it. So
right.
I don't even think that that's necessarily a bad thing if they are gonna put some pieces
Mm,
together and do that. So
that's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
so I don't know. I think it's a good swing, and I see some NBA stuff in him
Sure.
that makes me really intrigued by him.
Okay.
All right, you got the Wiz at 13.
This is a nightmare pick, dude. Who is at 13?
And they're
God,
probably going to
good
end up a
God.
little bit
Oh,
higher than
okay.
this if
No, I
Bradley
have my
Beal
pick.
shut down. Okay.
Right, right. I have my pick here. I feel like Beal. I don't see a world where Beal's going to be there next season. He might be. I just don't see it. They just moved on from Dinwiddie. Whatever. This is a good spot for him to go. Jaden Hardy. I'm going to take Jaden Hardy from the G League
Mm.
Ignite. I think he becomes their Gilbert Arenas for the future. I've made that comp before. I don't know. People may disagree with me. It's fine. I still really believe in Jaden Hardy. I think you put him in the right situation. I think he's being stretched out to do things that he's not comfortable to do right now in the G League, which is why some of
Mhm.
the performances are a little inconsistent. But once he's in the NBA and he gets more training, more program stuff, and he gets to do a little bit more of what he's comfortable to do, I think he's going to be a really high level NBA scorer. So I feel pretty good about taking Hardy here for the Wizards.
Yeah, and whether you keep Beal or not, like what a mentor for Hardy if you do keep him, right? So
Right.
and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I really like the young pieces. Like there's a lot of interesting individual pieces. Kristaps, Beal, who knows? Like I mean, weird direction for this team, just all over the place. Don't think Knicks fans are feeling all that down about the Porzingis trade anymore, huh? All right.
Nope.
The Atlanta Hawks. I'm picking for the Hawks. Shout out Simon, Hawks draft nerd. I mean, another one of these teams that it's just loaded everywhere. Kevin Knox, Jalen Johnson,
Oof. Yow.
Skylar Mays. I mean, come on. Just playing Simon.
Mm.
I'm going to take Matherin here. I just think it's like crazy value. I think he's like
Wow.
perfect in the backcourt with Trey. Run in transition, not like a big time creator with the ball in his hands, doesn't have to worry about that with Trey. NBA athlete, going to be a two-way guy, a lot of easy buckets in his future. So I got Matherin there for Atlanta, who
That's
little
such a
drop
good pick.
for Benedict.
Yeah.
I know
That's
he's
some
Canadian.
insane value for Atlanta.
I know he's Canadian, but he just sounds so British. His name just sounds so British.
It's Cumberbatch, that's why.
Like Benedict, like do you want to have some tea and crumpets with Benedict Matherin? unbelievable name.
Yeah.
All right. So at number 15, OKC is back on the board. You took Chet for them the last time. What direction are you headed now?
My direction, I'm going out. I have no idea. This is such a weird freaking roster. Chet was an easy pick, right?
Yeah.
JREs looked good for them. Trey Mans looked good for them. Our boy Ty Jerome putting up some numbers off the bench.
Did you see the Ty
Sick.
Jerome play the other day?
No, I did not.
He
What happened?
dribbled out a 24-second shot clock without making one pass and like didn't get a shot attempt up. It
Not great
was
for my Ty
kind of
Jerome love.
it was kind of unbelievable. I still like Ty Jerome, but it was like an unbelievable thing to watch.
Okay, Corey, I got my pick. Yeah, I think OKC they're taking a lot of bets on these younger guys, a little bit unknown type of guys, but they've got Chet, they've got Giddey, man, blah blah blah. I think a nice wing here would be good, but a wing who I think has defensive upside, but also is going to be a really good shooter eventually. I'm going to take Max Christie here with this pick. I think Christie's a guy who's going to have good size, good shooting, eventually be a good defender, and a guy who I think also will be able to do enough in the mid-range to be way more than just a one-dimensional shooter. So I'm going to take Christie here.
I like that pick. I like that pick for them, especially because, SGA is a guy who has the ball in his hands a lot. Giddey is a guy that has the ball in his hands a lot. Trey Mann, I mean, just they have their creators. Perfect complement to that. So him and Chet, like neither one of those guys needs to have the ball in their hands to have an impact, but they could still have a big impact without having the ball in his hands. And I love that guys like SGA and Giddey are going to get really good shots for a guy like Christie. And he just seems like he's going to be such a better shooter when he gets to the NBA. All right. Great job. Minnesota's on the clock. Another interesting roster. Ant Edwards proved the haters wrong. Best interview in the league. A lot of Jared Vanderbilt love on the internet. Towns finally coming into his own. Man, this is where the draft starts getting fun.
Yeah.
It seems like they're not like in love with Malik Beasley for the long term.
Right.
So I'm going to take a guy who I just think is good for their culture, can play with D'Lo, can play with Edwards, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ochai Agbaji.
Yep. That's the right pick.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Minnesota, building something. All right. You have the Houston Rockets. I took AJ Griffin for them with the 6th pick. They now have the 17th pick. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I'm ready though. I think this
Okay.
guy is a guy who does not need the ball at all. He's going to give them, he's an incredible cutter. I think he's going to give them a lot of versatility defensively. I think he's going to be able to support them defensively when their bigs kind of struggle with faster guys. I'm going to take Kendall Brown here. I think Kendall Brown is a profile of player that's a little bit different from what they have. And I think he's going to be able to play up defensively, offensively as well. Screen and roll guy, cutting off ball. So Kendall Brown. Yeah.
All right. I like it. All right. San Antonio is back on the clock. I took Jalen Duren for them with their 1st pick. They have 2 picks coming up, including this one. For the San Antonio Spurs, I'm going to take Dyson Daniels.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good swing.
yeah, I like it for them. You know, he's a very Spurs guy. Doesn't do anything exciting, but plays the game the right way. The question mark is his shot, but you put him
Yeah.
with Chip England, and he's going to get that thing settled quick because Daniel's shot is not broken by any means, any stretch of the
Right.
imagination. Can play multiple positions, versatile defender. Doesn't need the ball in his hands, but can make plays with the ball in his hands. I think Dyson Daniels is like prototypical Spurs guy.
Yeah. At this point, the Spurs are grabbing guys who can't shoot on purpose so they can flex on the rest of the league. So I'm with you.
That undervalue. All right, that means that you have Denver at 19.
I should probably do the wicked thing and give them another Nicola. 6'10" playmaker. I don't know, dude. Where do you go with this Nuggets team, huh? Strange. I mean, I wonder how they feel about Michael Porter at this point. Do they believe
Well,
he'll ever be? That it's sad, that back stuff.
well, they owe him like
$1
$150
trillion.
gajillion dollars, so I'm sure they feel like that back is going to get better at some point.
Aaron Gordon, good defensive wing,
Yeah.
can play up to the 4. Can I give them another versatile wing who I think is going to be really good when they occasionally run in transition, but I think can eventually become a pretty decent shooter. But just defensively, I really like him a lot. I'm going to go with Marjan Beauchamp here.
All right.
I was kind of hoping he would go to the Spurs before this, but I like that pick you made with Daniels. Yeah, I like Beauchamp a lot, man. I think there's a lot there that is untapped and will become more beautiful. And if he's doing that with Jokic, that's even more exciting. So I'm gonna go Beauchamp here.
Love that pick because he's a guy that just like fits so well with, not who doesn't fit well with Jokic, right?
Right.
But he's so good in transition. He's going to break out, get those crazy hit ahead baseball passes from him, cutting. I love it. For a guy who has questionable shooting, like you don't get better looks than playing with Nikola Jokic. So I like that pick a lot. And I think that he's going to be able to guard multiple spots. You know, he can. He's maybe got a little bit of Will Barton to his game, so you can kind of play that type of role. Big Marjan Beauchamp fan, so I think that was a really good pick for Denver. All right. At number 20, the San Antonio Spurs are back on the clock. I get to make all 3 picks for the Spurs, which is fun. Okay. Now I can go in a few different directions here. But I'm going to take one of the new age kind of 6'8", 6'9" wings.
Yes,
I'm going
do
to take
it.
I'm going to take the other Baylor
Yes.
wing. I'm going to take Jeremy Suhan. Because I think that he could be a really interesting piece in San Antonio. Another guy that needs some work on the shot, but big-bodied, really intelligent defender. I think Pop would really enjoy his game. And now you have DeJounte Murray, Suhan, Duran, Trey Jones, DeJounte Murray, Vassell. I mean, just a bunch of dudes who get after it defensively with some offensive upside. So I like what San Antonio's got brewing here. They walk away with Duran, Suhan, and Dyson Daniels. Not bad.
That's pretty sick, man.
Not bad. All right, You have the Dallas Mavericks at pick 21.
The hell do you do with the Mavericks, man? They just picked up Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie. Holy shit.
They sure did. What a weird trade, man.
What a fucking weird trade.
What a weird trade. Who knows what's going on with Brunson?
Well, it seems like they're going to lose Brunson. I don't think they can afford him, dude. That's my thing, Corey. I would love to see Jalen Brunson starting point guard for the New York Knicks. That's like some sexual stuff for me.
Big East.
Yeah, dude. Who's playing center for the Mavs right now? I keep forgetting. Is it still Powell? No way. Who the hell's playing center?
Yeah, I mean, Marquise Chris is getting a little run. I would imagine that it depends what you had considered Porzingis.
Right, exactly. Okay. I knew this was going in the right direction. I know who to take here. I think this guy, I've written about this guy. I like him a lot. I think he's showing everybody how good he can be defensively. Actually, plot twist. This guy's
Okay.
gonna actually move up boards. You know why? Because I think he might be a better shooter in the league than he's showing in college right now.
Okay.
Nah. What pick is this? What number pick are we at right now? People are gonna give me crap.
We're at 21. We're at 21.
Cool. The 21st pick, the Dallas Mavericks select Walker Kessler out of Auburn. I know it's weird, but I'm telling y'all it might happen. So I'm gonna take Kessler here.
No, look, Kessler is moving up boards, man. I think I was putting together the draft rankings for February, and I'm pretty sure ESPN has Kessler at 18 now on their top 100. So it's not outlandish at all. And I mean, like you said, they got rid of Porzingis. You mentioned
Right.
like Powell might be their starting center right now. So who knows?
Moses
Walker
Brown,
Kessler.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Brooklyn at pick 22. This is the pick that they just got in the Sixers trade, I believe. Okay. Ben Simmons. Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets. Gonna be. All right. Man. Seth Curry. What a team. They got way better.
Mr. Drummond.
Got way better. Drummond, yes. Oh. All right. Let's man.
So hard, bro.
This is a hard
this
pick
is actually so hard
for them. I'm going to take Trevor Keels for them. I think Keels is kind of like a safe guy who I think fits with a veteran laden team. Gives them some depth for whatever the hell is going to go on with Kyrie. He's a little bit more defensive oriented than Cam and Seth Curry, Patty Mills, that little group they got there. So I'm gonna take Trevor Keels.
Okay. Sorry about the late response. You kind of cut out there, so I was like, "Who's he gonna pick?" And then I heard Keels. I was like, "Oh yeah, Keels good." Oh, God. All right. Okay. Who do I have?
You have Chicago. So I picked for your Knicks. You picked for my Bulls.
Okay, don't hate me for this, all right, Corey?
All right.
I do this with love. I do this because I actually care about you, and I think this makes sense because he will offer you something off the bench that is different from the guy who plays that same position as a starter. So what pick is this? 23? 22?
23. Jordan.
23. There it is. With the 23rd pick, the Chicago Bulls select Mark Williams from the University of Duke, or Duke University. I want to give you Mark Williams. I want to give you Mark Williams because of the shot blocking and the size, and I think he helps. I think he's a nice piece off the bench for you guys. So Mark Williams, it is.
I mean, look, I'm a Mark Williams guy, so I think it's a really good pick. I think, look, we have enough guys that have the ball in their hands, And like you said, he brings something different than Vucevic. He's a shot blocker, rim runner, lob threat, and we need defensive depth and we need size. We are just decimated by injuries right now, and you look at our front court, and it's a tough scene. So, Mark Williams is a good pick, and it's probably the direction I'd have gone myself had I been making the pick. So, I'm a big fan of that pick. All right, I have the Indiana Pacers. That means so Indiana took Keegan Murray with the 7th pick.
Right.
Okay, so Indiana's got Keegan Murray. They got Halliburton. They got Brogdon. They have Miles Turner. They have Duarte. Some Buddy Hield. Some Lance Stevenson action. So I am going to go. Let's see. This is where we start getting fun.
Is fun the right word?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go with man, I'm going to go with Caleb Houston.
There it is. Okay. Nice. Okay. You know what I was thinking, Corey?
I feel like
when you
he's
were
a good part of
thinking?
the draft.
Mm-hmm. I was also wondering, like, what about like EJ Liddell? Too high or
Yeah.
interesting? No.
No. EJ Liddell, I am really, really digging lately. I'm a little, we had our last regular season game of the season, my team last night, which I believe had gotten moved due to like, one of the snowstorms we had in New York or something.
Oh yeah.
But initially last night is when Rutgers had played Ohio State, and that was a game I really wanted to go see in person.
Damn.
But I couldn't make it because I had my own game, and it was another Rutgers upset at home where they're just unbelievably tough to beat at home, Rutgers. But
Right.
yeah, so bummer I didn't get to see him in person, but I do like EJ Liddell. He's still on the board. Memphis has the 25th pick in the draft.
This is rough.
You were on the clock.
This is like,
Yeah.
This is a disgusting part of the draft. Good God. Okay, Memphis. That Brandon Clark Triple J duo has been looking pretty spicy. Steven Adams.
Oh yeah.
They've got Bane. They've got Ja. That Ja guy's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he's not bad.
He's not bad. Okay. Let's go in a weird direction here.
Okay.
Let's give
wait.
give him a weirdo. Okay. This guy is not going to play right away. He has to, adapt himself to this country. He's got to adapt himself to NBA speed and athleticism, but he's fallen enough. We're going to go with Nikola Jovic here. Give him some time to grow and blossom in Memphis. Maybe he becomes the heir apparent to Kyle Anderson. I don't freaking know, but I think it's an interesting spot and a decent swing because clearly he has talent, and maybe this is where he goes to kind of blossom into the player that NBA Draft Twitter thinks he is.
Yeah, heir apparent to Zaire Williams. I like it. This is a good spot. I do think that a guy like him, like this is the team you want to go to. You want to go to a team where, like, yeah, I know he's doing some things every now and then off the bounce and he's creating, but like you don't want him to do that in the NBA. Like if your team's relying on that, you're in some trouble. So let's let Ja handle that workload and let's let him play off the ball and, make the game easy for him. So I like that.
Right.
I like it. All right. I have Milwaukee at pick 26. And I am going to get them a little backcourt help. I'm going to take Kennedy Chandler from Milwaukee here.
Okay.
I think that if Kennedy Chandler is going to thrive, I think he's going to be a backup in the league because there's just not a ton of sub 6 foot point guards. I'm hoping he measures to be tall, 6 feet tall that he's listed at the combine. I just don't believe that's going to be the case. But I really like the poise and the pace that he plays at. Shot needs a little bit of work. He's a little bit more athletic than I think you'd probably think. And I think that defensively, he's pretty good, but size is the name of the game. But if you could play with a Drew Holiday, with a Giannis, with a Chris Middleton, with the defensive system that they have set up there, I feel like Kennedy Chandler maybe is a guy that, like, this is a situation contextually where he could work a little bit. So I'll take Kennedy Chandler at pick 26 to Milwaukee.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I can see that.
All right, and you have the Miami Heat at pick 27.
God, this is so fun. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Okay. Hey, Miami's going to take a big swing here. They're going to swing for the fences. And they're going to say, bro, with our culture, we get this guy in here and we give him like 3 years to develop. Are you kidding me? He's going to be a freak. And we'll be like, whoa, what's going on? Where did this guy come from? Peyton Watson from UCLA is going to go to Miami and go to college. He's going to finish the rest of his 3 years of college in Miami and come out a really awesome player. So I'm going with Peyton Watson here.
I dig that one, man. I think that's a good get at this part of the draft. And I was going to take him probably next if you hadn't taken him. So, all right. So now I get Memphis. You just took Jovic for Memphis. They're back on the clock. So for the Memphis Grizzlies, I mean, this team is loaded everywhere, man.
It's insane.
They're really loaded everywhere. So they got Jovic, they got Zaire Williams. It's kind of like projects. So I'm not going to take another project that's kind of the same kind of guy. All right, I'm going to take get them maybe a big man that they can kind of groom for the future. I'm going to take Ishmael Kamagate.
There it is.
For Memphis. Who knows? Maybe he stays another year. Maybe he's a draft and stash guy. But if he comes over, big guy, looks like he's got some skills, and he's young enough to grow with the young guys they have on that roster. Which brings us to pick 29. You're on the clock for the Golden State Warriors.
Okay. I think this one, I hope people like this one. I don't know. At this point in the draft, I mean, yeah, cool. I feel comfortable with this.
Okay.
I think it's late enough. I think people are going to like this. Okay, EJ Liddell. I'm going to take Liddell here for the Warriors.
Good.
I think it makes sense. I mean, let's call it for what it is. Draymond gets hurt every year now. It's a thing now, which sucks. And I hate to say it, but he does. And so Liddell might be a guy that you can groom to be a Draymond light. Not that they're similar players, but just in that role, I think maybe offensively, at least, definitely not defensively, not the same level. But I think offensively, he can do some stuff that Golden State could use and can kind of foster. So I feel good taking Liddell here.
I love it. He's got a lot of Golden State type of skills. He really reminds me of like a modern day Paul Millsap, or at least a younger Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap was a pretty modern player on some of those Hawks teams. So, all right. And that brings us to the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC got the first pick in this draft. They opened it. They had the 15th pick, took us to the middle of the draft, and now they're bookmarking it with the 30th pick. They took Chet with the first pick. They took Max Christie with the 15th pick. And now, with the 30th pick, I'm going to take a guy that's going to need some developing. I'm just going straight up for the potential of what he could be. Likes to operate with the ball in his hands. Has struggled shooting it, especially lately. But he's got an NBA frame. I'm going to take Blake Wesley.
Okay. Wow.
I know he's got some big-time fans. He's, started really shooting up boards before his recent struggles. But I think he's got an NBA game to operate with NBA spacing. He could be interesting. And what better situation than go to OKC, who, as of right now, doesn't look like they're interested in winning that many games, and just load up on all this talent and see what sticks. Throw it against the wall. So, all right, running through the results of the draft. OKC takes Chet Holmgren with number 1. The Orlando Magic take Jabari Smith Jr. at number 2. The Charlotte Hornets take Jaden Ivey at number 3. The New Orleans Pelicans take Paolo Banchero at number 4. The Detroit Pistons take Johnny Davis at number 5. Houston Rockets take AJ Griffin at number 6. The Pacers take Keegan Murray at 7. The Spurs take Jalen Duren at number 8. The Kings take Patrick Baldwin Jr. at 9. The Blazers have the 10th and 11th pick. They take Ty Washington and Tari Eason. The New York Knicks take Jan Montero. The Wizards take Jaden Hardy at 13. The Hawks take Ben Mathurin at 14. The Thunder take Max Christie at 15. The Timberwolves take Ochai Agbaji at 16. The Rockets take Kendall Brown at 17. The Spurs take Dyson Daniels at 18. The Nuggets take Marjan Beauchamp at 19. The Spurs again take Jeremy Suhan at 20. The Dallas Mavericks take Walker Kessler at 21. The Brooklyn Nets take Trevor Keels at 22. The Chicago Bulls at 23 take Mark Williams. The Indiana Pacers take Caleb Houston at pick 24. The Memphis Grizzlies take Nikola Jovic at 25. The Milwaukee Bucks take Kennedy Chandler at 26. The Miami Heat take Peyton Watson at 27. The Memphis Grizzlies take Ishmael Kamagate at 28. The Golden State Warriors take EJ Liddell at 29. And the Oklahoma City Thunder take Blake Wesley at 30. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, is your 2022 mock draft version 1 for the Draftdaq NBA Draft Podcast. That was fun. That was a fun exercise, Albert. And it really makes you realize how quickly this draft can go off the rails.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I mean, Jesus. Actually, Corey, I wanted to ask you, from the picks that we made, did you have a favorite pick?
Out of all of these picks?
Yeah.
I mean, I really like your Jaden Ivey pick for Charlotte.
Okay.
I like that pick a lot. I kind of, man, I don't like this draft is the problem. No, I really do. I'm having a great time scouting it. I do like a lot of the players, but
Yeah.
the outcomes could go really sideways. Like, I feel like a lot of stuff went sideways here. I do like, I like the Spurs draft.
Yeah.
I think Daniels is a Spurs guy. Duren's a fun Spurs guy. Suhan's a fun Spurs guy. Like, they could be a really deep team.
Mm-hmm.
And I like your pick. I like Mark Williams. I like you picking Mark Williams for Chicago. I think that would be a good outcome, and he'd give something that the Bulls didn't have this season.
Right.
So,
I did want to say, I think your Suhan pick was one of my favorites because that's when you're thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's where he should go. I thought that was kind of perfect. Yeah, that one I really, really enjoyed actually. I thought your Matherin pick to Atlanta was, gee,
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's
perfect, and
that's a good
Hawks
one.
fans will, yeah, the Hawks fans will love that one. From the picks that I made, I think my favorite was Peyton Watson to Miami. I
Yeah,
feel like if Peyton Watson becomes what we think he might become, and you put that next to Bam, holy crap, dude! Like that's kind of terrifying. And then yeah, and then also the Tari Eason pick. Like I know that some people may give me some crap about that one, but for
I don't think
Portland
so.
and for where, yeah, for Portland and where they're going to go back to back and get Eason with the second pick, I think it makes sense to me. So yeah, this was fun, man, and I think we did a good job. I hope our listeners enjoyed it because I actually think we made sensible picks here.
Yeah, and again, like guys who didn't make the cut, and I seriously considered at certain points. J.D. Davison, I
Mm,
considered picking at certain points. Bryce McGowan's,
right,
I considered. Justin Lewis, I considered. Harrison Ingram.
right,
I even considered John Butler. And I think NBA teams, if he declares, will consider him. Christian Braun.
right.
Braun?
Braun.
I don't know. I've heard
Who
it
knows?
said a couple. Yeah. Who knows, right? I mean, Usman Jang could be a guy that goes in the first round. The
Oh
teams,
yeah,
believe in. So this draft is man, it's so wide open. It's so wide
yeah.
open. The separation between guys post lottery to pick 45 is, it might not be that big of a difference. So all right, Albert, where can the people find you and your work?
Yo, on the internet, you can find me at Alberto Gim. You can find me at GTG NBA. Yeah, I actually have been like kind of baffled about what I want to write about for next week.
Mm,
But yeah, or maybe I just need like a reset because I went so freaking deep into Hyunjung Lee last week. But
yeah.
yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm excited to hear from you guys.
You can find me at Corey Tullivan on Twitter, the NBA Draft Dude on YouTube. I released my big board, top 30 prospects in a video on the YouTube channel. We released our cumulative big board at No Ceilings this week, for our top 60 prospects, which was a lot of fun, and that takes all of us into account. But I did my own board on YouTube. And make sure you follow No Ceilings NBA, guys, on Twitter at No Ceilings NBA, the noceilings.substack.com. Subscribe to it. You'll get NBA draft content delivered to your inbox every Monday through Friday for free. And the team is just doing such good stuff. I'm gonna have my draft rankings updated for February coming out next week. We have a special Valentine's Day piece coming out as well on Monday. So it's going to be a really fun week of content coming up at No Ceiling. So make sure you check that out. If you're watching this on the No Ceilings YouTube channel and you didn't subscribe yet, hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and yeah, if you haven't given us a rating on Apple or Spotify, hook your boys up.
Rate us.
Yeah, I'm a 5-star man. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, for listening, all the good stuff. We appreciate you. 1 year of the Draftdaq podcast. Here's to a million more. To the moon,
Let's
baby.
go.
We out. Peace.
Peace.